Jonathan.
No problem. All right, a little bit about the team here. You see, nice picture of us in the same room that this picture was taken in. But I'm going to introduce our teachers one by one. We have our former Teacher of the Year, Ms. Mitchell, who teaches geometry and algebra. We have our AP Environmental Anatomy A&P teacher and Engineering Design teacher, Ms. Cross. Of course, me, our assistant principal. Ms. Woods, who is our current Teacher of the Year, who teaches our Family Consumer Science, our event planning, fashion design, food nutrition, and a plethora of other amazing things she does. We have Mr. Hensley, who is our veteran teacher here, who teaches our 10th, 11th grade history classes, and also is our attendance clerk. It helps make my job a lot easier. We have Ms. Rogers, who is our AP English and 12th grade English teacher. She's the one that gets all the knuckleheads ready for graduation. And then we have Ms. Lovelady, who is our resource, collaborative, and special education teacher, who is in all of our classes. She's one of ours that we advocate to get on our panel with us because she sees everybody and has a good feel for what's really going on in our school. All right, and then Mr. Bowerman, I'm sorry. Mr. Bowerman is our technology guru for our school, and as well as the core group. Also teaches in our Tech program, our career prep, our business century. He's also our baseball coach. All right, that's the team. That's Lawrence County High School's core group. Let's a little bit about Lawrence County. I think most of us are familiar with NASA, which is located in Huntsville. That is our closest, our landmark, I guess you could say. And outside of Huntsville is a city called Decatur, which is kind of like the stepsister of Huntsville. And then there's Moulton, which is 30 minutes from there. We're sort of like the twice removed great-granddaughter that sometimes forgot about. We are a very small community, very tight-knit community. A lot of our teachers that work at Lawrence County High School actually attended high school here. A lot of them went to UNA, just right down the road, or Athens State, and then returned back to their alma mater to teach and instruct. So we are, like I said, a very small knit community. We have very low turnover when it comes to teachers. We tend to retain teachers for a really long time, which is a great thing for consistency and advocacy for our students. But we are a school of about 600 kids. This is a picture of our amazing stadium. Just to give you an idea how small we are, there we are, Moulton on the map. If you see the big industrial by the river, just north of that, you've got Huntsville. We are a very small county. Not very many square blocks. I'll show you just in a minute. Here we are. This is the city of Moulton proper. You've got our square. You've got our school, elementary, middle, and high school. You've got a few landmark restaurants, which I'll show you one of those. Our kids have a different name for it. The Steak and Biscuits, also known as Choke and Puke to our students. It has been here forever. It's one of kind of the landmark restaurants of Lawrence County. Families, sports teams all attend it after games. It's kind of a staple in our community. And then right across the street from our school is one of our parks that is visited by a lot of our community. We do cross country meets here. Our community meets and does all sorts of activities. There's this water park. So as a whole, there's not a lot to Moulton as far as business and industry. Majority of business industry is in Decatur or Huntsville. So a lot of our families are commute to work. We kind of call it like a bed and breakfast community. They stay here, but they work somewhere else. All right, now the overall nuts and bolts demographics of our community. We are a Title I school that's located in a Title I district, which means that 51% or more than 50% of our students receive free or reduced lunch. Majority of our students ride buses. We've got 22 buses that transport kids. We've got approximately 600 students in our school. We are the largest of the 4 high schools in Lawrence County. A few years ago, there were a lot more. We went through a consolidation about 6 years ago and absorbed another high school. We are rural by definition. We have roughly the same population for the last 25 years. We have noticed an annual 1% decrease in our population since 2010. So just not a large community. And with that means a smaller tax base, which is again why we qualify for title. And recently our largest employer in Lawrence County shut down. It was International Paper, with left over 1,000 of our of our community members without jobs, which is another reason you see a decrease in our population over the last couple of years. And as a result of this, most of our students have been affected by this loss, which is why we go back to the slightly blind leading the blind, is that there's just not a lot of resources to provide technology to our kids or to our schools based off tax money. So majority of our resources come from our title funds, which are limited to upgrade and to get technology for our students. So the core grant has been a great opportunity for us as far as putting, I like to say, bringing us to 21st century technology goes. All right, so what we currently are using in Lawrence County High School, technology-wise, is we are trying our best to use the money that we've been given to kind of drive the PD change in our school. Currently, the things we use Apara, which is a internet monitoring system that allows teachers to kind of play God over the kids' computers when they log into our Wi-Fi, help monitor what they're watching, what they're doing. They can force out activities or lessons to the kids on their actual Chromebooks that we provide them. We are a Google district, which means we use Google Classroom, Google Drive, Google Gmail as a daily function. We have a couple of teachers that have incorporated Google Classroom as their mainstay for education and teaching and getting resources to the kids. Several of our teachers and we as a admin staff use Remind to help push out to the community to get our stakeholders involved. We do not have a PTA at our school, so we use things like this to help keep our parents and our community members involved. In addition to that, we have a program called Schoolcast, which allows us to send mass emails, voice messages, text messages to our students and our kids. And I know those are basic things that most schools have had for several years, but these are new to us in our community. And then currently we have 7 floating Chromebook carts that are stocked with about 27 to 30 Chromebooks per cart. So if you do the math on that, with 600 students, we're not nearly even a 1 to 1.5 technology device. And of course, we have one computer lab that is used for a lot of our credit recovery and our online access classes. So that is where we are. Where we're trying to get change is in these 3 main categories. We want to use the core grant money to invest in better communication with our students, our teachers, and our community. We are a very, very tight-knit group. As a community, we're a 5A school, but kind of in a 1A community where everyone knows everybody, and word of mouth helps out a lot. But if we can push out information in a much more efficient way, that's what we're trying to do. We also are using the money to update our classroom environment. Typically, you walk into a classroom and you see the 5 rows of 5 of desks, and we know that that's normal for our kids. But we also know there's a lot of research that encourages group discussion, collaborative working, PBL lessons, and so we're trying to change our classroom environment to kind of reflect on that. One of the things we're doing with our money is, it's the slide where it says effective communication and enhanced safety. With a good chunk of our money, we bought phones for our classrooms. Up until about 2 weeks ago, the only way to communicate with the classroom was through the main office and through the intercom. And so for safety reasons and just efficiency reasons, we invested in phones that allow our teachers to communicate classroom to classroom, to communicate classroom to the office in a more private manner, and then also communicate with families, our parents, without having to go to the office. They can do it from their classroom. So one of the purchases, I know that's a basic technology thing, but for our school, it's huge. It's really, we're hoping to really take advantage of it and become more efficient as staff members and team members. The other thing we're doing, as you see pictures here of it before and after, is 2 of our core teachers have taken their allotment of money and bought tables. I know that's a simple basic thing, but it has completely changed kind of the outlook of our classrooms in these rooms. We got rid of the typical desk and we set them up in table format where they're able to collaborate more efficiently. We can bring in Chromebooks and they can share them together since we are limited to how many we have. And they can work on projects together, really supporting that PBL, problem-based learning mentality. We know that there's a deficit in our kids when they graduate on working in collaborative groups or cooperating. It's something they struggle with because they're not exposed to it. So we're really trying to make that happen for our students, provide them opportunities to be engaged easier without just sitting in a desk taking notes and listening to lecture. Really letting the kids kind of drive instruction and drive problem-based learning. We hope this helps increase our critical thinking opportunities. We also hope to push and make it mandatory fun. It makes them sit together and work together, and hopefully that will help us in resolving conflict, good and bad. We think that smaller groups like this help to engage creativity. And my biggest thing is, to me, it's a much more efficient use of class time and class space. And forcing these kids to sit together, it also allows them to have conversations both on topic and off topic, but at the end of the day, we hope that kind of help deepen their cultural awareness of each other and understanding the where others are coming from. The third main aspect of our usage of the monies is adding technology to our classrooms. Adding larger monitors with tablets that are more efficient for our teachers, that makes them more tech savvy, gives them the opportunity to bring things like Kahoots or a program or internet-based surveys and things our kids can play in as a class and individuals. We're incorporating tablet stands to be more efficient for our kids that maybe have struggled with print size, or they don't have the financial resources to have their own tablet or cell phone, so we're able to provide that for them. And then just incorporating more educational apps. So incorporating more usage of iExcel. We have a thing called Actively, which our English teachers use, which allows sort of like a Newsela type base. It allows up-to-date online print for our kids to read, where they can adjust lexile levels of reading to meet the needs of our kids. Incorporating a program called Turnitin, which allows our English and history teachers to comment on papers that were submitted online, so the kids get immediate feedback. It allows for peer-to-peer interaction and editing of papers, which are standards that our kids have to master. So that's what we're driving, taking this money, and we're able to look at and experience and to research educational apps and software for our kids to use on a daily basis. Prior to this, we just didn't have the resources, so it's one of those things, if you don't have the resources, why look for them? And that's sort of where we are. We have not spent all of our money yet. We are about halfway through with the money allotted to us. We are still looking at programs to incorporate in it to make our students' learning experience more viable and something that's going to mock or mimic what they're going to see when they get to college. Are there any questions?
This is Lynn. I'm sorry, I don't want to turn my back. Then I don't want to turn my back to the audience. So what challenges has your team encountered, Jonathan?
I told you that we are a school of very little turnover.
Uh-huh.
And we have a lot of teachers that have taught here and have been here a while. So I think a big struggle with it, at least from my curriculum side, and I know I might hurt some feelings, but is that getting some of our teachers out of their typical rut of teaching and encouraging them to incorporate technology into their teaching, because our kids use it, the kids experience it, they know how to use it. And I think there's a fear from our teachers to kind of venture into that world. So by providing opportunities and PD and research that this committee has come up with, the teachers do a much better job of selling things to other teachers technology-wise than I can. So it's just a matter of exposing our teachers to, having the time to expose our teachers to new technology and then allowing them to incorporate it into their class. That's been a big struggle. Is we have resources, now it's getting them to use them, or our other teachers to use them. So these 4 teachers have been kind of our guinea pigs. They've modeled teaching practices and technology, and by word of mouth and by showing it and allowing them to teach our teachers how to use it, we're slowly moving in that direction. Right. Usage of those technologies has been a little slower than we would have liked.
Right. Yeah, I think you have a lot of head nodding when you're talking about challenges. We got a question in the back, and do you want me to just interpret it, or okay? Go ahead.
He spoke about Newsela, but he said a tool before that, and I wanted to know what it was.
You talked about Newsela, you talked about a tool before Newsela. Jonathan,
yes,
what tool did you mention? Do you remember?
I do. It's called Actively. Actively, and you can buy it as a school, or you can buy it per teacher, and we right now have a couple of teachers using it. And it's very similar to Newsela. We actually have a teacher using Newsela, but it allows, of course, up-to-date articles, but you can also, you can use it as an editing tool too, so kids can upload articles or things they've written, and it allows you to engage it in another way. But it's different than, say, like a Turnitin where it's all submission. This actually has nonfiction and fiction material, articles, books, all online that the kids can access either in class through a Chromebook card or through their tablet or their phone. So you can, our teacher's been using it to assign outside readings. It's almost like a flipped classroom where they are able to do the reading at home without having to have a textbook or paying for it, a textbook, or worrying about losing it or damaging it or things like that. It kind of takes one more excuse away from a kid to not read, because we provided it to them in a manner that's on their tablet or on their electronic device.
Right. And so that was actively with an A, like ACTIVLELY.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, great. Well, are there any other questions? We'll wrap up with our friends in Lawrence County and let them get on with their day. We appreciate you guys. Jonathan and your team, you guys did a great job. Thanks for zooming in with us and being part of our workshop today. Have a great rest of your day, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.